My name is Cole Clark. I am, first, thank you to the Park Street team. This is an awesome event. I'm really glad you guys are here to listen about changes in consumer trends. But I run a BevAlc innovation analytics company called AmygdaLaunch. I'm a proud member of Gen Z as well. I can confirm we do work.
We've got a resident Gen Zer in the house.
Yeah, I'm the token Gen Z, exactly.
Wait, it's not.
So AmygdaLaunch, it's a BevAlc product innovation analytics company, and we work with large suppliers, we work with small brands to uncover opportunity in the marketplace, and so that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So, at a high level, the BevAlc industry is more competitive than ever. So, I'm so excited to use this laser pointer. Is it working? No? That's fine. So at a high level, we're more competitive than ever. Since 2020, there have been over 500,000 new labels approved by the TTB. Spirits, whiskey and tequila specifically, their growth rate, their normalized annual growth rate, is an order of magnitude above that of the rest of the industry. So spirits specifically is extremely competitive right now. So I will be the third person to ask this question, but obviously we have some brand owners and operators in here. Anyone specifically in whiskey or tequila? Yes? Great. So do me a favor, think about how you would describe your target consumer. So oftentimes when we're asked that question, we describe them in terms of demographics, age range, income level, maybe geographies, membership of a certain generation. Now I want you to think about how you would describe your best friend. And so when we describe our best friends, usually it's through shared experiences, memories, more human aspects, not just, if you're describing your best friend by demographics, I'm a little bit concerned. The last question I have for you, well, I might have one more, but the last question is, does anyone, by a show of hands, does anyone know where the cutoffs, where the definitions for generations come from? So, it is a remarkably arbitrary process. So according to Pew Research, it is a haphazard process whereby society and popular media come to a consensus over time. And yet we use those definitions to define who we market to and who is supposed to be buying our product. And so that's the contrast. When we describe target consumer profiles, we describe them in terms of demographics, but when we talk about our friends, we describe them by the qualities that unite us, their values, their interests, their lifestyles, and experiences. And so that's where basket analytics and understanding a more holistic perspective about product purchasing and consumer behavior comes in, is through baskets we can understand customers' motivations, their occasion of purchase, and intended use. So the last thing I'm gonna ask you to think about is, if you, have you attended an event, a concert, a sports game, and taken a look around? So oftentimes you'll find that people look nothing alike. You have all sorts of age ranges, you have all sorts of demographics, but the thing that unites them is the fact that they are all paying money to go have a shared experience, and they all share the same interests. And so if we use that example, we can detect and accurately classify 85 to 90% of event-driven purchases of alcohol using the following four basket metrics: basket value, category diversity, so how many categories are they buying, price point diversity, and the overall item count. So when we have higher value, higher diversity in terms of categories and price points, and larger item counts, when those fall into the top 25% across all transactions, we can say with 600 times more confidence that that transaction is the result of an in-person event occurring nearby. That's what you can see over here, the 1 feature, 2 features, 3 features, 4 features. But not only that, if we go a layer deeper and we look at consumers' baskets, there's an important element of context. Oftentimes in the industry, we make a mistake of assuming that consumers are going to read all the information about our product. They're inundated with an ever-growing selection of products to choose from when they make their shopping trip. And oftentimes they're not so much evaluating the individual parameters of a certain product to inform their purchase. It's a subconscious behavior. And so they're evaluating things more holistically, and they're evaluating the product based on a given use case, whatever occasion they're buying for. So if we take this as an example. This represents a basket. We have our central product, which we're going to say is a tequila for today. And maybe when someone buys their tequila for drinking after work, they can make cocktails with it, they can drink it on the rocks. They're also buying a 6-pack of White Claws so they can watch a sports game. They're buying some premium RTDs so they can watch The Bachelor with their girlfriend. And then they're buying their tequila. And so if we are a new tequila entrant, what we want to see, if we want to steal share from an established competitor, what we want to see is those adjacent products are staying the same. However, that central product changes to ours, right? And so baskets indicate, or they are a great indicator of the use case of a product to consumers, and therefore they show us a lot about true opportunity in the marketplace, especially now that it's more competitive. So instead of thinking about products and product purchasing in terms of categories, subcategories, price points, think about it in terms of the use case to the consumer. And I'm about to scare you all with a graph. I love graphs. Oh, whoop. There we go. Okay, so what is this? This is a correlation matrix. So what this is measuring is the similarity of the adjacent products across baskets. And you can see, well, you can barely see, but you can see that on the X and Y axes, we've got tequila, vodka, and whiskey. And within those, we've got different price points, more premium products, all the way down to less premium products, or I don't know what the politically correct term for that is, cheap products. And then we also have their market share. And so what you can see along the diagonal of this axis, when we compare pairings, or the comparison between two products, we see these triangles of dark blue, which indicates that when we organize products in this way, we can very accurately detect products that are used in the same way, or competitive neighborhoods. But you'll also notice that throughout the body of the graph, we see other areas of blue, which are our areas of opportunity. And so if we take two examples of tequila, one is a mid to high price point, one is a mid to low price point. Small to mid-size, 1.5% share of tequila, a larger size, 8.6% share of tequila. We find there are some key differences in their competitive neighborhood. What are those? Well, the more premium tequila, the smaller brand, is more competitive with higher price points across the board. We're talking across tequila, but also vodkas and whiskeys. So it's price sensitive, and it shows a bias towards clear spirits. It also has a smaller competitive neighborhood, so 13, 7 of which are tequilas, 2 are mid to high price vodkas, and 2 are mid to high price whiskeys. Whereas if we look at Tequila 2, the bigger, cheaper brand, it has favorable statistics to lower price points. It has a wider competitive neighborhood, 7 of which are tequilas, but it's more evenly distributed across other categories. Hence, it has more of an opportunity. Well, not more of an opportunity. We'll get to that in a sec. So 7 other tequila brands, 8 mid to low price vodkas, and 7 whiskey brands of varied price points. So again, going back to just tequila comparisons, what we can see is, again, 7 and 7, but it's almost as if when we organize them by their basket correlation, so the similarity of their baskets, we can see that Tequila 1, the more expensive one, it primarily is highly correlated with highly priced tequilas, hence price sensitivity. But then when we see the lower priced tequilas, even though it has the same size competitive neighborhood in tequilas, we see lower price points across the board. And what I would like to call your attention to is the basket statistics. So these are tools that you can use when you go to your sales team, your distributors, to make a favorable argument for your product. So if your product is highly correlated with another, you can promote your product without impacting their consumers, the retailer's consumers, the distributor's consumers. But when you look at over here, you've got favorable basket statistics. So you're driving larger baskets in terms of value, in terms of item count, but also price per unit. So what does that mean? That's more value to the bottom line of the retailer. They're going to give you more favorable placement, and distributors are going to be more apt to take your product. And so when we look at those areas of opportunity, we see that actually Tequila 1 has an opportunity of 13.5% of the other tequilas in its category, and Tequila 2 has an opportunity of 21.9% of that category. And we see similar things across the board. So again, very favorable basket statistics for Tequila 1. And so it's taking advantage of that entire competitive neighborhood, higher price points across vodkas. But you'll notice that as opposed to Tequila 2, it's only got 4 brands in its competitive neighborhood. But either way, both brands have opportunity. Tequila 2, 6.8% of the category. Tequila 1, 36.3% of the category. Whiskey is probably the most interesting example because that's where you really see the difference between tequilas 1 and 2, and the differences in the sizes of the competitive neighborhoods in terms of which brands are there. But again, we see huge opportunity across categories when we get outside of our perspective of category, subcategory, and price point, and we focus more on the use case of our products to our consumers. And so I just threw a whole bunch of data at you, but if you remember one thing, what I want you to remember is opportunity through empathy. If we better understand consumers, not as demographics, but understand them as human beings making a choice, processing a whole lot of information, we can find opportunity in a very competitive marketplace.